First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Proverbs, the 24th chapter. Be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. And why is that? Because first off, what would make somebody envious against an evil man? The things that they have, right? And it's even in the book of Psalms, right? It says that envious, right? Psalm 73 and 3. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. You see, so through the prosperity that they seem to have, one might look at that and be envious, but here Solomon is warning, don't be envious of them and don't desire to be with them, because their end, right, for their heart studieth destruction. That's what their mind is given to, destructive ways, and their lips talk of mischief, right? And lining up also with Micah 2:1, they devise iniquity upon their beds. These evil men, which a prime example is the Edomites, right? The Edomites today, you can see that they're full of what seem to be prosperous, life through money in abundance in that way, but their heart study of destruction. And that also, a precept for that is Psalms, the 64th chapter. So as it says, their lips talk of mischief, right? That's what their plans and their meetings are all about. Mischief. Through wisdom is an house builded, and by understanding it is established. Okay, so an house, whether it's your household, right, or your family line, or you here, it's established or built through wisdom. Okay, it says, and that's a sure house, right, a sure foundation. And by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and rich, pleasant riches. And let's look into that word chambers. It says chamber, room, parlor, innermost, inward part, or within. So reading that verse again, right? By knowledge shall the chambers be filled with precious and pleasant riches, right? Which can be likened onto actually, acquiring wealth. But you can also liken those chambers onto the, you, right? Through the knowledge of the Lord. We are also filled with those pleasant and precious riches, which lines up with Hebrews, Romans 11:33, describing the riches of the Lord. It says here, through knowledge, its rooms are filled with all sorts of precious riches and valuables. A wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increaseth strength. Now, does it mean that the more you read, now you can go bench press 255 with your eyes closed, right? 4 or 5 plates, you throw that on a flat bench and call it a day? No. Okay, but the strength is not is more than just physical prowess. All right, but in knowledge, a man that's increasing in knowledge increases in strength in many facets, right? And the scriptures tell you that the wisdom strengtheneth a wise man more than. Let me see if I can find that. Wisdom, wise man, more. Sometimes you gotta throw in those key words, or the wise. I think that's what it is. Wise. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 7:19. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. See, so it's not dealing with necessarily physical strength, but power, right, or strength that comes through wisdom to overcome. For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war. See, our war, like even the Apostle Paul mentioned, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but spiritual, and mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. So by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and in multitude of counselors there is safety. See, so if you, even like on an actual carnal level, if you go to make war, it should be through counsel, right? Through wise counsel. And as it says, in the multitude of counselors, there is safety because there is a surety, right? That whatever decision comes out of it it has been tried, right? It has been, thought of. It has been well planned. Wisdom is too high for a fool. He openeth not his mouth in the gate. And in the gate is once again the place of assembly, of discussion, of disputes. But he's not going to open his mouth because he doesn't have wisdom, right, to bring forth. And as it says, wisdom is too high for a fool, so wisdom is not going to dwell with a fool. And the thing is, if you try to give wisdom to a fool, they won't appreciate it. He that deviseth to do evil shall be called a mischievous person. And I mean, that's the rep they're going to earn, right? Let's actually look into the word mischievous. But when you devise to do evil, you plan, you plot evil things, right? Mischievous, discretion, device, plot, wickedly, right? Thought wickedly. So you do wickedness, you're known as a wicked person, right? It says the thought of foolishness is sin, and the scorner is an abomination to men. So you want to be mindful of, your thoughts, because even the thought of foolishness is sin. And the danger in that is the thought of foolishness brings forth the actions of foolishness, right? If unchecked. And the scorner, let's look at the word scorner. It says to scorn, to make mouths at, to talk arrogantly, right? To mock, deride. So basically somebody that is speaking arrogantly or proudly against, and it can be likened onto an adversary. They're an abomination to men because nobody likes a scorner. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. Because when if the hard times come and you faint, right, and you're not able to withstand it, thy strength is small. You don't want that to be the case when the Lord brings adversity, because the times that we're coming into, they're going to be some trying times, right? The hour of temptation is going to be a time of great adversity, and that's why you need to pray for strength from the Lord, lest you faint in that time. If thou forbear to deliver them that are drawn unto death, and those that are ready to be slain, if thou sayest, and that's basically like somebody on trial, right? Or somebody close to death, drawn unto death. It says, rescue those who are unjustly sentenced to die, save them as they stagger to their death. If thou sayest, behold, we knew it not, doth not he that pondereth the heart consider it? See, if you try to make an excuse to say, oh, we didn't know this was a wrongful sentence, doesn't the Lord who pondereth or weighs the intent of the heart consider it? Doesn't he know if you're lying or not? And he that keepeth thy soul, doth not he know it? And shall not he render to every man according to his works? So the Lord is going to judge you accordingly, because he knows what's going on within your heart. If you deliberately wrongfully judge and you try to lie about it, the Lord is going to know and judge you accordingly. My son, eat thou honey, because it is good, and the honeycomb, which is sweet to thy taste. So shall the knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul, right? It's going to be sweet. And does this mean that eating, you find a honeycomb and you go and eat it, all of a sudden you have wisdom now? No. But the words of wisdom are likened unto honey, right? This knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is also likened unto honey. So just as sweet as honey is to your taste buds, so shall wisdom, or the knowledge of wisdom, be unto your soul when thou hast found it. Then there shall be a reward, and thy expectation shall not be cut off, because the reward comes through wisdom, right? And your expectation, the thing you look forward to, will be made sure through wisdom, right? If you apply it properly. Lie not wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. So don't plot against the righteous. Spoil not his resting place, right? Don't disturb him. For a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. See, so a just man might fall. If you're the cause, judgment is going to come upon you, of course. But he might fall, 7 times. It's not literal, right? It's you know, a certain amount of times. But if he is just, the Lord is going to help him back up again and again and again. But the wicked shall fall into mischief, which also means that, going back to the just man, there are times when you fall. There are times when you do something wrong and it's like, to falling, but you rise back up again through the Spirit of the Lord. You're not down and out just because you fell once. Rejoice not when thine enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth. But keep in mind, right, there's a balance of this. See, it says, lest the Lord see it and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him. Now, this enemy here, does this make sense for this enemy to be, say, Esau, Edom? No. In Psalms 83, it lists the enemies of Israel. And the scriptures say, happy shall he be, right? Happy shall he be. Yeah, Psalm 137:8. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. That's a pretty adverse, right? That's against your enemy, because if you're dashing the little ones of your enemy against a stone, that means that your enemy is falling, right? They're in a bad position. So why would the scriptures in one part say, happy shall he be, but then Solomon is saying here, don't rejoice when your enemy falleth? This enemy is not talking about your actual, enemies as in the other nations. Okay, rather your neighbor, one that is maybe you're against or is against you, that's a fellow, Israelite. They are the ones who the Lord would be displeased, depending on the situation, if you're glad and rejoicing to see them stumbling. But the Lord is going, what does it say? Matter of fact, I believe this might be in Revelation. Yeah, Revelation 18:20. And this is when the Lord has destroyed our enemy, right? And he has given us the victory. And here it says what? Rejoice thou over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her. Who? Babylon. So this is not talking about your like our enemy, like as in our adversaries like Esau and the other nations, or the Edomites and the other nations. We should rejoice, right, when they fall. It literally just said that in Revelation 18:20. And let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth. It's not talking about these kinds of enemies here. It's talking about, the same kind of your neighbor, right? Your fellow Israelite. Lest the Lord see it and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him. The Lord ain't gonna see us rejoicing over the fall of Babylon and then turn and set it back up. When the Lord gave us the victory over the Egyptians, which are our enemies, did we not rejoice? Did we not sing unto the Lord? Why didn't he say, whoa, hold on, I'm displeased at that. Let me turn my wrath from them. No. So see, when you read these scriptures, you have to be able to, put it in practical sense, right? And reason about it to see, okay, all right, clearly Solomon is not referring to your enemies as in anybody like these other nations. Verse 19, fret not thyself because of evil men, neither be thou envious at the wicked. Let's go into that word fret. To be furious, to burn, to become angry, right? To be vexed. So don't let the actions of evil men, get you out of character, right? And also don't be envious at the wicked, for there shall be no reward to the evil man. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. That's going to be their end, right? They're not going to gain a reward. They're going to rather gain judgment. My son, fear thou the Lord Yahweh and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change, right? Those that are given to change is like one that is double-minded. They're unstable. So don't meddle with them, for their calamity shall rise suddenly. Let's actually look at that word change real quick. Them that are given to change. To repeat, to do again, to alter, to be repeated, to alter, to disguise oneself. So imagine they make one decision, right? And they come back and they change their answer on that. And then they come back and they change again. They're repeating, but they're not stable. Okay, you don't want to meddle with such, right? As it says, for their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knoweth the ruin of them both? These things also belong to the wise. It is not good to have respect of persons in judgment, and the law tells you about that. When you judge righteously. Don't be partial towards the poor because he's poor, or towards the rich because he's rich. He that saith unto the wicked, thou art righteous, him shall the people curse. Nations shall abhor him, right? Because he's ruling in favor of the wicked, saying that you're righteous, or you say like he's innocent in a matter when he's really not. And the people are going to curse him because they're going to know that that's a wrong judgment. But to them that rebuke him shall be a delight, and a good blessing shall come upon them. It says, but it will go well for those who convict the guilty. See, those that don't acquit the wicked, rich blessings shall be showered on them. Every man shall kiss his lips that giveth a right answer. And the kissing of the lips is not literal, right? But it's like a blessing. Okay, it says an honest answer is like a kiss of friendship. You see, it's referring to the effect of it, not literally. All right, so every man shall kiss his lips that giveth a right answer. So the one that gives a right answer, as it says, they're gonna honor you like a kiss, right? It's not, once again, not literally they're gonna kiss you on the lips, but they're gonna show love to you. Prepare thy work without, and make it fit for thyself in the field, and afterwards build thine house. It says, do your planning and prepare your fields before building your house. Be not a witness against thy neighbor without cause, and deceive not with thy lips. That's a false witness. Why? Because the Lord is going to judge you. And deceive not with thy lips. Don't be one that deceives others, because ultimately you're doing a wicked work in doing that, right? You're not living in an upright manner. And usually when you're deceiving somebody, it's for your gain or somebody else's gain, but it's to somebody else's hurt. Say not, I will do so to him as he have done to me. See, I'm gonna avenge my own self. Don't be of that mindset. I will render to the man according to his work. Within the scripture say that? Give place for the wrath of the Lord. Let him handle it. Because you might try to bring evil upon somebody, or recompense, or get back at somebody, and you might end up going off in the process. I went by the field of the slothful, and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And lo, it was all grown over with thorns, and needles or nettles had covered the face thereof, and the stone wall thereof was broken down. Because what? The slothful man doesn't take care of his field. He doesn't till it. He doesn't clean it. He doesn't preserve it. Then I saw and considered it well, and I looked upon it and received instruction. See, he learned, he observed, and he said, yeah, like it just came to me. It dawned upon me. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. See, he said, once I saw this, the thought, the instruction, the thought that came to me was, yeah, you might say, oh, let me just get a little bit more sleep. Oh, 5 more minutes, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. You put your hands together under your head to lay down for a little bit longer. So shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man. Just like that, a little here, a little there, you start becoming, more and more slothful. Just like that, poverty is going to come upon you. Let's read this in the NLT. It says, then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit. Scarcity will attack you like an armed robber. And that brings us to the end of the book of Proverbs, the 24th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.